Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons.
Thank you for your support. Enjoy the video.
Hey there, Rulers. DMO73 here, bringing you a feature match for the week. This is between two very fun lists that got popped up at my locals this week. We have Paul Reissmann playing a Lich Recycle deck. So the whole idea is it's trying to use Lich with the Lich Resonator and a couple other things to kind of cycle the Lich Resonator a bunch of times to make your opponent just have 0 cards in hand, and then you just kind of push them out from there. And we have Paul Clute playing a Shiki Atom list. It's kind of a cat tribal, but also using like Shikigamis and stuff. The idea being that like Seimei can potentially cheat in a Zeus Alice. So it's kind of using that style of green-white stuff to bring in Zeus Alice. And yeah, just kind of a different take on the whole Atom deck. So these guys ended up getting paired up, but that'll be a fun match to have you guys see. Something a little bit more unique. And so let's go ahead and to jump right in. Seems like Paul is going to be going first. Or sorry, Paul Reissmann with Lich is going to be going first. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Just deciding what they're going to do with their opening hands here. Paul Clute. We'll just go with Atom choosing to ship 1, Lich choosing to ship 1 as well, it would seem. Calling that first stone, light vapors off the top. Don't think that's really what the deck wants to see. It obviously will play a turn 1 like Layla or something like that. Paul getting a first turn light vapors as well, choosing to play a Dark Alice on his turn 1, immediately sending that Atom to grave. So now his stones are 5 color as long as the Dark Alice is there. So not a great start for Lich to be walking into against the Atom list. See a Scorched Bales from Lich. Playing 1, we have Look of Corruption, so we're going to go ahead and be able to look at the hand here. Looks like we see a Zeus Alice, which gets taken, a Karura, a Chance of Tranquility, a Calico Cat, and I can't quite tell what the other card is, potentially another Calico Cat. Drawing for turn, looks like Paul drew into a second Karura. Oh, there's an Atom, that's the other card in there. We're going to explore the unknown here. Look at the top 5, pick a Wind Resonator, put it into your hand. We see the Kaguya, so that's a good sign for Paul Clute. We'll have to see whether or not Paul Reissmann kind of takes the bait of how this seems to kind of be setting up here. Lich calling for that second stone, or third stone, gets a Scorched Bales. Deciding to play a Sephiroth. I think he's probably choosing to corrupt. Maybe he might be choosing to harvest just to draw into a better card. Yep, just choosing to harvest so you can maybe draw into some better answers for what might be coming down here. So the Atom deck is kind of, we've seen it, it's very similar to what we've been seeing before from these kind of lists. It's that kind of green-white control, but Paul Clute is taking it a little bit different, not utilizing all of the same kind of tricks, using some kind of underused cards just to make the deck a little bit more fun, but it's still kind of working on the same concept there. You saw during the upkeep, he used the 2 Will and his Energize to go ahead and play Chance of Tranquility from hand, which essentially just ramps him 1, and then we're going to go ahead and see coming down a... because we've got access to green, we've got access to Yokai Festival, and Zeus Alice is in the Atom's engraved, so suddenly 2 Zeus Alices come down, and those are going to swing in. Unless we have some kind of bounce spell or way to deal with the Dark Alice and then remove the graveyard, that's probably going to be game for the Lich deck, especially since not sure exactly how well it can deal with Eternal, but swing in for that first 1,000, go up to 5,000 and 3,000. And then choosing to swing in for the second one, so down to 2,000 and 6,000 respectively. So ultimately, just kind of a really, really strong start for the Shikigami Atom list. It just goes to show that, once again, sometimes Atom can just burst out that play so fast that some decks just can't keep up with it. Blackstone off for Paul on the left. Starts to pay 3 here. I think he kind of forgets that he can't use Sephiroth for Green Will unless he has Athenia on board. He can't use the Sephiroth to produce Will unless he has the Athenia, and unfortunately it seems like he has Athenia in hand, like he was about to cast it, but ultimately doesn't have a way to make green right then. Even tries to like start to play some other way, and it's like, wait a minute, I have no way to produce green because you don't have a green black stone, we don't have onlooking vampire. And so at that point, in realizing his mistake and then realizing he has nothing else that he could possibly do, I think a quick once over of his hand, and Paul is just going to go ahead and scoop it up. So playing that mana transmuter, not really going to do much, and then says, oh wait, you have 2 flyers, I can't deal with it, so we'll go ahead and scoop it and go to game 2. As we go into the next game, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell down below so you're notified when all of our videos goes live, and consider supporting the channel by being a member here on YouTube or checking it out on Patreon for all the cool exclusive perks that come with supporting us. Thank you guys so much. Let's go to the next game. So here in game 2, ultimately, Paul Reissmann hoping that he can maybe get a little bit stronger of a start, get some Darkness Stones right off the bat, set up a situation where he can start picking off the Dark Atlas, keeping the graveyard under control, maybe getting rid of Paul's hand very aggressively. Paul obviously wanting to set up, a cancel lock or something like that, or setting up for a potential until he can set up for the Zeus Alices to kind of swing in for lethal that way, whether it be through Yokai Festival or Seimei or whatever. So Darkness Stone on turn 1. It's good for Paul. We're going to go ahead and see Sephiroth come down, choosing to make Paul Clute discard, which is normally a good strategy here. It's the idea of what you want to take. The ultimate thing is, this is kind of a misplay because, unfortunately, Paul playing Shikigami's is playing Kukunochi, which says if it gets discarded, you get to special summon it. So because Sephiroth is a card that lets your opponent pick which card they're discarding, Paul was able to just discard the Kukunochi and pass it to his hand. So an unfortunate misplay, just from lack of knowing what that card was even going to be potentially in the deck. And it's not good for Paul at this point, Paul Reissmann on Lich, because this is just 7 damage swinging at his face on Paul Clute's turn 1 that he gave Paul Clute. So now he has to now deal with this hurdle. It's a 7/12. It's a very, very large body. Down comes a Bastet, which he's going to go ahead and just bounce back to him, or no, sorry, he gets the Bastet off the Explore the Unknown and then passes the turn there. Scorched Bale's coming down. Gonna see a Fiery Angel of Demonic Angel of Fiery Vengeance. Kind of trying to see what Paul Clute might be up to here. Passing the turn. Paul having the Kaguya in hand. So the interesting thing here is if Paul, now that we know the Bastet's in hand, if Paul were to play a discard spell or something like a second Sephiroth, Clute could flash in the Bastet, bounce the Kukunochi back to his hand, discard the Kukunochi, and then resummon it. So it's kind of like a way to get around Sephiroth there, which is pretty interesting. Swinging in for 7 after calling for Stone. Not going to do anything else quite yet. Paul says that's fine. I'll go down to 26. Potentially setting up for something to try to use that Fallen Angel for some other reason. Draw into that Athenia, ultimately needing to see a mana transmuter or something like the onlooking vampire to try to be able to get access to that green. Looks like we're going to go ahead and try to do Harvesting Season. Send some stuff to the graveyard. Paul is going to respond by using Light of the Moon from his rune deck. It is a free instant speed rune spell that gives Paul barrier for the turn. Primarily, Atom decks are using this because they want to turn on Rune 2 at instant speed when they need to, because down is going to come the Kaguya and cancel that effect. So pretty unfortunate there. Big stealing of tempo for the Lich deck. After that, just going to pass the turn. We got a Windstone for Paul Clute. Going to block with the Fallen Angel. And then after it dies, we're going to try to Life-Severing Blade the Kaguya to kill it. This is a little bit unfortunate. Oh, no, sorry. We're going to go ahead and potentially take the 7, search in response. Okay, cool. So it looks like we're searching, and then... searching, and then after it goes to grave, we're going to go ahead and use the Fallen Angel, the Life-Severing Blade, to try to shoot it. And then Paul's going to go ahead and take the 7 there as well from the damage. So, and then making it so that he only takes 5 instead. Looks like we're still going to use the Kukinoji, give it the -4/-4. So Paul taking some damage there, getting another Fallen Angel out. Two down. A Invitation to Purgatory. The Kaguya is just going to recancel it. Unfortunately, the Kaguya that bounced back by the Chance of Tranquility. So ultimately, Paul Clute just really having a kind of solid luck on this game. Another Fallen Angel comes down. We know he has the Bastet in hand still to be able to bounce that Kaguya even one more time. Ultimately, the Kukinichi is just going to be able to swing in and do a lot of damage. Swinging in for 7. Gonna see the block. And then we're gonna try to kill Kaguya again. The Bastet's gonna come in and bounce the Kaguya back to hand. Oh, Paul once again is gonna take the damage from the Kukuichi apparently. An extra 2 damage actually, because now we have a cat on the field. Paul going ahead and call that stone. Unfortunately, we know that Paul Clute has at least 1 Kaguya in hand, if not 2, and he has the will to cast both. So that's probably going to be game, unfortunately, with whatever Paul Reissmann might potentially be able to play. Yeah, there's 2 Kaguyas in that hand for Paul Clute, so he can just pretty much cancel whatever he wants and then swing in for lethal here. Another Fallen Fiery Angel comes down. Paul says that's fine. I don't really mind that at all. We're gonna go ahead and try to cast the List Resonator, at which point the Kaguya comes down, and that point it's gonna seal in the game, and so Paul's gonna start scooping it up. So that is going to be it. A little bit one-sided, unfortunately, but they were fun lists, so I wanted to at least try to get the recording for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Deck profiles for both lists will be up later this week. And until next time, this is Demo73 saying class dismissed.